Hi there, my name is Spencer Hodge. I am a class of 2015 alum from Northwestern University. I had the privilege of meeting Professor Joseph in the spring of 2012. I enrolled in a political science class of his, The Politics of Africa, and immediately many things clicked for me at once. I loved the content. I loved being both challenged and encouraged as a thinker, and I think it was the first class that Professor really pushed me to think for myself. And then also the more that I learned about Dr. Joseph, his background, his experience in academia, his experiences as a practitioner, the more that I knew I wanted to find a way to stay attached to him as I went through my undergrad years. I started working for Professor Joseph as a research assistant in the fall of 2012, and I worked for him with 3 years up until I graduated. Some of the projects I helped out with were building the Africa Plus website, digitizing the Africa Demos publications for Northwestern's libraries, and getting the Nigerian Crucible project off of the ground. Two things really stand out to me from my experience working with Professor Joseph. One, I became part of an amazing network of students, research assistants, grad students, professors, academics, practitioners, all with a shared interest in the African continent. And as someone who wanted to explore an interest, that was an incredible sandbox to play around in and grow something that I loved. Second, I feel very fortunate to have been able to build a professional and personal relationship with a professor while I was at Northwestern. I don't think that's an experience that many undergrads had, and Professor Joseph did so much for me as an undergrad and continues to do so much for me even after I left school. That's a friendship that I very much appreciate and hold dear. Today, I work in the corporate strategy group of a US-based healthcare provider, so it's a little different from what I was doing with Professor Joseph. But I think a lot of his teachings gave me the confidence to go after a position like the one that I currently have. Regardless of where one works or the function that you perform, I think there's always a need for people who truly want to understand and investigate problems. I think there's a need for people who want to find ways to empower ordinary folks to make the best decisions for themselves. And then finally, I think there's a need for people who want to be a part of and reform institutions from the inside out. One of the lessons I'm walking away from my experience with Dr. Joseph is how important institutions are in kind of governing our day-to-day lives. And so I try to carry on his work through my job today. Professor Joseph, thank you for everything, and I'm so excited to see what you accomplish on your next steps.